You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button. It was a pretty significant weekend, both on the good and the bad side for LSU in recruiting. Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger, joins us every Tuesday here to talk a little recruiting, and what an appropriate time to do it. Shay, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
I survived what is now entered a 2-month-long NCAA recruiting dead period. So they used to keep that final weekend of July open, which is when they would have the Bayou Splash recruiting event. Now that's closed. It's closed all of August. So they crammed Friday Night Lights, a Bayou Splash, and double-digit official visitors into a national championship weekend when most folks, I think, were paying attention to things in Omaha, while back at Baton Rouge, kind of the future of the program is had a pretty important weekend.
Yeah, man. I want to talk about the weekend and who was here and the significance of it. But if I could start with Bowe Bentley, you and I have been talking about Bentley for months here, and he, over the weekend, did announce his commitment, and he's going to be an Oklahoma Sooner. So can you walk me through sort of the what happened, why OU won out here over LSU?
I mean, OU had been circled as the team from the start that he was highest on. He grew up in the area of Texas where there's a lot of Sooner fans, and he was one of them. Their kind of household was one of them. But we're talking about a kid who didn't start until his junior year of high school this past fall. So his recruitment didn't really blow up until January, really, February, and when he started to kind of reel in some really big offers off that season. And that played into LSU's hands, at least, because when Bryce Underwood leaves you at the altar in the 11th hour, and you do go and sign a portal quarterback, a starter out of the SEC, in Michael Van Buren out of state, you don't want to go, and skip another class back-to-back of high school recruiting. That's not ideal after not signing anyone in December. So they sort of latched on to Bentley, and they went from part of a huge group all the way down to kind of the team that was always the team to beat, OU, and then LSU, and he gave them back-to-back officials. And I don't know, Matt, it just felt like the further out we got from the two officials that things were probably going to come back to where they started for Bentley, and that was OU as, like I said, the team to beat. So it wasn't a big surprise when he picked OU. I think more so it's, okay, where does LSU go from here? Because, again, you don't want to skip back-to-back, high school recruiting cycles.
So, Shay, that's the very obvious next question is, where do they go from here?
Well, they went ahead and offered Bryson Beaver, who is a four-star, pretty fast riser, tore up the Elite 11, made Oregon and Ole Miss visits in recent weeks. But in the past few weeks, LSU and other schools had been in talks with Beaver, and for LSU, it was, hey, look, if things don't work out with Bowe Bentley, who do we pivot to? And Beaver officially picked up his offer in the time since Bentley committed to OU on Friday. So they've got the new offer out, but again, we're in a 2-month-long dead period now. So the goal is to get a kid to say, hey, look, I'm going to wait until I can make a visit and kind of do things beyond Zoom calls with the staff and all of that, because there's no in-person contact allowed. And if he does wait, well, then LSU's very much in the picture. And I almost think, look, Auburn offered, other offers are starting to roll in. If more offers come in, does he press pause and say, hey, let me look beyond Oregon and Ole Miss, who, yes, he was on Oregon's campus this past weekend, but that was his first visit there. So, again, a guy who's kind of blown up later in the process. Does he allow that to continue to play out is the big question. And then after that, it's, hey, does, this staff and Joe Sloan try to go flip a guy who, you play that out during the season, but it's the NIL era. We don't know what happens with these teams in the fall. We don't know about coaching changes. We don't know if a team goes and adds a portal quarterback that leaves, your incoming quarterback a little uneasy at the high school level. So I still think this one could go a few different ways depending on what Beaver does, and then ultimately kind of how the fall plays out for LSU and other teams.
We'll get right back to the video, but thrilled to welcome Our Lady of the Lake to AFR LSU. As the championship health partner of LSU athletics, the physicians at Our Lady of the Lake serve the champions on the field in the purple and gold, but that same level of care is available to you and your family. I've been a proud supporter of Our Lady of the Lake my entire life. from volunteering at the Ronald McDonald Playroom as a high schooler to helping so many of the fundraising efforts for the standalone Children's Hospital, to my own son being a patient now at that very Children's Hospital, and my primary care physician, Dr. Kurt Chastain, at Our Lady of the Lake Men's Health Group. Our Lady of the Lake has been a part of my medical journey my entire life, and you can learn more as well. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU. Together, we roar. Still very much to be determined for the most important position on the field. Tigers without a quarterback still for the class 2026. We'll see. Shay, this weekend Lamar Brown was on campus, and last week we talked about him not being on campus. Then he was going to be on campus, and by all accounts, it looked like it went really well. What can you tell us?
Yeah, they had sort of all hands on deck here. You know, it's tough to provide something new to a kid from U-High who goes to school on campus and has been offered since he basically came on the football scene. But they had Mason Smith back in town. Obviously, he's in the NFL now, but he's become a bit of a mentor playing the D-line position that Lamar Brown wants to play. He was a 5-star coming out of Louisiana, so they were able to kind of talk things through beyond what the coaching staff and, you know, fit and pitch him to stay home and NIL discussions. They still try to kind of drive home, hey, look, here's some guys that you can trust, that you're familiar with, and that went into Keelan Moses pitching in, his U-High teammate. And I think one notable thing was that Jordan Gilbert was part of the weekend. And we're talking about Lamar Brown, who's got every offer coast to coast, but I think most people feel that if you were betting on where a 16, 17, 18-year-old is going to go to school, that A&M and LSU would be the two odds-on favorites here. And Jordan Gilbert is a U-High kid who went to A&M, and when he had the opportunity, came back to LSU and started this past season. And I think for them to sit down together and talk things over, that's kind of an experience that, you know, for Jordan that can hit home with what Lamar is weighing right now. So, look, I've had my pick on Lamar to end up at LSU for a couple of years now. I'm not going to change it right now, but he does have a decision coming here in, probably 2 weeks, 14 days, something like that, if not a little more. So as the dust settles, Matt, from these wave of official visits that included Miami, Texas, unofficial visits to schools, I think we'll start to kind of get a little bit more clear picture. But I'll give LSU the edge right here, but I will absolutely acknowledge that A&M is still very much in this.
Shay, there were a couple of committed 5-stars on campus, and one you mentioned was Richard Anderson, the number 1 defensive tackle in the country. I saw one of the pictures. It was Lamar Brown and Richard Anderson kind of like side by side, and I think the caption maybe was, you know, the SEC's in trouble if these two pair together. What was the significance of having Anderson there on campus this weekend for this big recruiting weekend?
Yeah, I think it's twofold. I think it's spending time around guys like Lamar Brown, who we've joked about it. Not many 280-pounders are ranked as the number 1 athlete in the country, but when you can play O-line or D-line in college, then at the SEC level, you're pretty deserving of it. But he wants to go the D-line route, and Richard Anderson's the number 1 D-lineman in the country right now. So that is a pitch for LSU to say, hey, look, pair you guys up together. And that's a pretty nice 1-2 punch of 5-stars coming out of Louisiana to play in the trenches. And again, D-line and 5-stars don't come around all that often relative to the edge position versus some interior guys. So I think that was a pitch. Again, at the same time, it's locking up Richard Anderson. He's a 5-star number 1 D-lineman out there. He did not make any other official visits this summer, which is a win for LSU. And then as we go into this 2-month-long dead period, LSU was the last visit that he took. So I think when you sit down and you talk things over, kind of every angle of his recruitment, that LSU left the weekend feeling pretty good about a guy who, I'll tell you, Matt, after what he did last year going through into the state playoffs, how he's looked this spring, this is going to be one of the better D-linemen to come out of the state of Louisiana in a while. And we'll be talking about Richard Anderson a good bit if he does indeed sign with LSU and end up suiting up in purple and gold.
Couple more for you. Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tigers with us. Another 5-star committed that's on campus is Tristen Keys, the number 1 receiver in the country. Where do things stand with Keys after the official visit and then some of the rumblings in the past few weeks?
The goal was really twofold. A, get him to this point and have him still committed. And when you've got, agents involved with the NIL era, 5-star receivers are about, as involved as it gets when teams go, other teams pitching them on NIL opportunities and all of that. Buzz Cook, who's Brett Favre's agent, a Hattiesburg guy, and obviously Tristan's a Hattiesburg native, has been kind of one of the people involved on the agent side of things, as someone who can help out with his recruitment. And I think when you go to Tennessee, you go to Miami, you go to A&M, you make these visits, they're going to pitch a lot of different things, and it's tough to kind of sit and wait and continue to battle over the phone and get him in for unofficial visits until you make it to that final weekend before the dead period. But the twofold goal was A, getting him there, got him there committed, and then B, having his mom there, which kind of the short and skinny of it is that he's visited LSU a ton since ninth grade, but often the Hattiesburg High coaches would bring him, they'd bring his teammates, all of that. This was him and his mom's weekend to finally kind of really get an extended look at things, her to sit down with LSU and talk things over, and by all accounts, things went very well there. So do I know if Tristen Keys 100% will sign with LSU in December? No. Do I feel better about that now that I saw him not decommit at any point this summer and then give LSU this final visit? And absolutely.
Hey, Shay, before you go, let's finish where we started. You mentioned the 2-month dead period that's coming up here. So what should we be on the lookout for while things are quiet over the summer?
Oh, we kind of talked about it, Bryson Beaver. It's like you're rooting against the kid there, your new quarterback offer, to make a decision because you haven't got him to campus. But the reality is a lot of these guys are going to be ready to make decisions because that's what they do. They let the dust settle from all the visits across the off season, and ahead of their senior year, they say, hey, look, I'm ready to shut things down. So I would keep an eye here in the next few weeks. July 4th is big, running through July 10th when Lamar Brown is circled, and kind of even into the middle of the month. A lot of guys who have LSU in their top group are going to go ahead and commit. So they've hit double-digit commits already, but I think that number is going to grow here. We're almost to the end of June, so in the next 21 days, I would expect LSU's commit list to add a few more spots.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. You'll give him a follow at Shea Dixon. Great time to go sign up as well over there at On 3, the Bengal Tiger. Shay, we appreciate it as always, man. We'll visit next week.
Thanks, Matt.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.